It's 6:30, and the Louisville Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of March 20th, 2012 is now called to order. And we do have a quorum present. The first item of business is approval of the minutes of the February 7th, 2012 meeting. They were presented in the package. Is there any comments or changes? If not, may I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Karen.
Second.
Seconded by Jared. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3 on the agenda is a public hearing consent agenda. Excuse me. Item 3A, final plat of Valley Ridge Business Park East Edition, lots 2R1 and 2R2, Block B on a 6.25 acre zoned light industrial and specific use SU, indoor gun range district zoning, located on the north side of Valley Ridge Boulevard and west of Mill Street. Mary?
Good evening, Commissioners. This plat that we are looking at this evening, Valley Ridge Business Park East, lots 2R1, 2R2, essentially is replatting one lot into two. Lot 2R1 is related to the zoning case before you this evening. So when you're looking at this plat, there's a split zoning listed on it, light industrial and specific use zoning. Again, we're going to be looking at this plat with assuming that the zoning, if it gets approved, will have this zoning on it. So currently it's all LI. So what we're looking for you to do is to make a motion assuming that the specific use zoning goes through. If the specific use zoning does not go through, then it's subject or conditional to the zoning going through. In case you had any questions as to why there's two different zonings on the property. With regard to the actual platting of the property, it meets all the requirements of the zoning ordinance and general development ordinance, and staff would recommend approval, subject to the zoning being approved.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Okay.
Do we have the projected hours of operation or
Well-
anticipated hours?
Zoning.
We do, and that's actually will be presented through the zone change application, which is next. So I would ask you to keep those questions to the next
Okay.
presentation.
Okay, at this time, open up a public hearing. Anybody who wishes to speak for, against, or about, please step forward, sign in at the podium, and state your name. I'm very excited to see so many people in the audience. Usually it's us and maybe one other person, so there must be great interest in this. So if anyone wishes to speak, please come forward.
This is just the plat. Oh, this is for the plat. Right.
Okay, having none, need a motion?
Make a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Seconded by Alvin. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4 is public hearing on the zoning.
We need a vote.
Yeah,
Yes, we do.
we close the public hearing. Can we have a vote, please?
Okay. Is there any discussion, commissioners, on this subject? Okay, then we need a motion to recommend approval of the final plat.
Make a motion to recommend approval subject to the zoning being approved tonight also.
Motion by Karen,
Second.
seconded by Brent. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Now we can move on. Public hearing zoning, consideration of a zone change request from light industrial to specific use, SU, for, let's see, district zoning for indoor gun range with an associated parking variance on 1.147 acres located on the proposed Lot 2R1, Block B, Valley Ridge Business Park, East Edition. This request is being made by the Eagle Gun Range Incorporated on behalf of the property owner. The zoning case is PZ 2012-0303. Mary?
Good evening, Commissioners. The zone change before you this evening is for an indoor gun range. That is a use that is not typically found in our zoning ordinance, and as such, it is going through the specific use zoning process. The particular property is Lot 2R1, which is in the process of being replatted out of the larger lot. There is a variance that is attached to this zone change request, and that's a parking variance. The existing property has 2 buildings on it. Lot 2R1 is where the proposed gun range is going to be. Lot 2R2 is another existing facility. The parking is along the front here, and there's a shared parking agreement. Lot 2R2, the larger lot, has an excess of, I believe, 18 parking spots, and they've done a reciprocal parking agreement for that lot, 2R1 to use those extra parking spots. With regard to the indoor gun range, Eagle Gun Range is the proposed tenant for this property. They will be leasing the property from the owners. They have hired a consultant, Action Target Inc., to develop the site plan or do the site design for the target range. This is a company that has actually designed several police facilities, including the city of Louisville, Grand Prairie, Arlington, Dallas County Sheriff, Frisco, Garland, Mesquite, Seagoville, Rockwall, Fort Worth, Dallas, Northeast Texas Community College, Plano, Wichita Falls, and the Federal Bank Reserve. So they have lots of experience in designing both indoor and outdoor ranges. I will just go speak generally to what this facility is proposed to have, and I will let the applicant do a more in-depth presentation. Currently, the building is vacant. Typically with a zone change request, we don't go into a lot of detail as to what's going to be built on the property or what the property is going to be used for. With specific use zoning, that is not the case. We actually require an engineering site plan from the applicant. So we want to know specifically what they plan on using the property for. Any deviations from their site plan, if they wanted to add more lanes or do something different, they would have to come back through the process. With their specific site plan, city staff has reviewed it, as well as people from the police department. They are planning to have 2 bays containing 24 firing lanes, 2 rooms for classroom instruction, an employee lounge, 2 offices, bathrooms, and a sales counter. The range will have to comply with other governmental agencies such as the EPA, OSHA, the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, and the CDC. The EPA will control air quality around the facility. OSHA governs employee working conditions, such as noise exposure, exposure to lead, etc. The National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health regulates airborne lead concentrations, noise levels, and ventilation rates. There is to be no outdoor discharge of firearms at this range. The removal of spent bullets will be done by an outside vendor, further limiting employee exposure to lead. And this is to happen every 80,000 to 100,000 rounds. And that's actually recommended in the other literature. With regard to, I already spoke to the variance. They are required to have 55 parking spaces. They are providing 46 spaces on site, and the other 9 spaces are through a reciprocal parking agreement. The adjacent lot has an excess of 18 parking spaces, so that shouldn't be an issue. Do you have any questions?
Yes. Do we have anticipated hours of operation?
We do, and I will let the applicant come and speak to that right now.
Okay.
Before they come up here, I'd like to hand out to the chairman. We did receive a letter today from an Angela Engel of 754 Mockingbird Drive in Louisville, sending in a letter of support for the gun range.
Thank you, Mary. Are there any questions for Mary? Okay, thank you, Mary.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. My name is Bobby Dolock. I'm with G&A Consultants. We're a local civil engineering firm. I'm here on behalf of my client, Larry Carr with Dinkman Associates, LLC. They're the owners of the facility, and also Mr. David Prince, who is the operator of the Eagle Gun Range. They're both here tonight. I'll kind of walk you through a little presentation, and we certainly will answer your questions of hours of operation. We all want to know when the facility is going to be open. We gave you a bird's eye view of the three buildings here. The first building on the audience's left, my left, was built in 1998. The second building was built in 2000, and the third building was built in 2004. As Mary described, this was a single platted lot, Lot 2, and in order to comply with the ordinances of the town, to ask for a specific use, you have to have that particular building on its own lot, and that was the purpose of the first agenda item, was to plat it on its own lot, Lot 2R1. The property is all, this property is all zoned light industrial, as shown on Mary's map also. The specific use for the gun range facility, again, is highlighted in yellow. Everything else that would change zoning if we get a favorable recommendation by y'all in concurrence with the council. Now, the site plan is a requirement of any specific use permit, which is a little bit different than a regular zoning case. So I kind of wanted to go through little specifics of this site. It's an existing building, so we're not building a new building, but we are adding a few things. The new lot is 1.147 acres. The existing building is 16,800 square feet. We are adding an additional 8 spots that are highlighted there in the, let's see, back here in the back. All right. So we got a sensitive, hang on a second. It doesn't like the leather. We're striping these additional spots here in the back. But as Mary indicated, there's plenty of spots, like these spots right out here, and they're all part of the reciprocal parking agreement. Parking's not going to be a problem. The parking breakdown at the bottom left-hand corner of your thing requires, of your screen, requires 55 spaces required. We have 46. There's a reciprocal parking agreement. That's a typical way of handling, and the same owner owns all these buildings. So. Now, the one thing we are adding is in the back, shaded in red, and Mr. Prince will go into detail of this area. It's actually air conditioning units that will help, which will make this a one-of-a-kind shooting range here in the North Dallas area as far as an air-conditioned indoor range. And he'll go into specifics of how that works and how it draws the exhaust and stuff out. And with that, I'm gonna yield the floor to Mr. Prince, and he's going to go through a more detailed presentation of how the range actually operates.
Thank you.
You sign it.
Thanks, Bobby. Chairman and Commissioners, I appreciate the opportunity to come before you tonight, and thank you for your volunteering your time to make Louisville a better place. My name is David Prince. I live at 6032 Osage. For the past 7 years, I've lived in Frisco in Denton County. For the past 13 years of my 30 years in business practice, I have a CPA firm in Frisco as well. As you can see from the screen, the mission statement for Eagle Gun Range is to foster the development of all shooting sports by providing opportunities for members and their families to receive shooting instruction, by providing a safe venue for shooting, by promoting fellowship and good sportsmanship, while keeping firearms safety paramount in the pursuit of all these activities. In our decision to go forward with building a gun range, we had to determine what the demographics of this North Texas area was and whether it would tolerate an indoor gun range. As you can see on the next screen, I'm sure you all are aware of it, but Denton County alone has grown 53% from 2000 to 2010 to well over 600,000 people. When you put Denton County, Dallas County, Collin County, and Tarrant County, the 4 contiguous counties together, you come up with 5.6 million people. We found that there were only 8 gun ranges serving 6.5 million people in the North Texas Council of Governments, which makes up 16 counties in the North Texas area. On the next screen, you'll see the location of those 8 indoor gun ranges. Notice there's not one range in Denton County. We'd like to remedy that with y'all's permission tonight. Also on this same map, you'll see that there's drive times of 15, 30, and 60 minutes. You'll also notice the location of the other 8 ranges throughout the Dallas Metroplex. We included this chart to give you some idea of just how far people will drive or be willing to drive to get to our range. We have had gun shows throughout North Texas, and we assure you that people are willing to drive an hour to get to our range, and we'll tell you more about why they'll drive. Later, I'll tell you exactly why these people will drive past other indoor ranges in order to shoot at our range. But before that, I want to point out that we're building a very unique entertainment venue, unlike any other gun range in the whole entire state of Texas, that we expect 1,500 people a week to come to Lewisville. And this building is only 1 mile north of City Hall, so it's my hope that the range brings thousands of people to Lewisville that have never been here before. One of the unique reasons that 5.6 million people will drive past another range is because our range will have 24 lanes, which is more than any of the other range. And as you can see from this next slide, we'll also have ballistic walls that are 8-inch concrete-filled cinder blocks. Surrounded that is 7 inches of tilt wall concrete. So this range will have basically 15 inches of concrete protecting it from bullets escaping to anything outside the building. So the public is particularly protected in this environment. You'll notice, and we're very proud of, the 2 classrooms in the bottom left-hand corner. We have 2 very large classrooms that we're going to be conducting defensive training courses, defensive shooting courses. We'll be also educating the people on how to properly use handguns, as well as training on getting their concealed handgun license permits. On the next slide, there are examples of some of the equipment that we're going to be putting in. Action Target, who you are familiar with, Mary has told you about, installs these type of shooting booths. You'll notice there's booths. Each one of them, those booths are protected and will prevent high-powered rifles from even penetrating at point-blank range from going into the next booth. So our shooters are protected. Our public's protected by the walls. The shooters are protected from each other with accidental discharge from these booths. You can see here in the red jacket range safety officers that will be walking around monitoring the shooters to make sure they're conducting themselves in a safe and appropriate manner. They're also there to instruct new shooters on how to handle their weapons. Down below, you'll see other particular equipment that we may be putting in, of similar equipment. The next slide is an aerial view of this gun range, and the reason it's important, I'd like to show you that at the very far right-hand side of the range in this picture, you'll see a 10-foot high rubber, granulated rubber berm that's going to catch all of the bullets being fired downrange. At any 90-degree angle, there's 24 inches of rubber, granulated rubber, but at the tilted angle, those bullets will have 36 to 48 inches of rubber that will have to, there to stop the ballistics. And behind that is a steel plate, and behind that still even is another 7-inch tilt wall concrete. So next slide is, this particular slide is going to also show you how we have protected the top of the building. Action Target has designed the baffling system at the very top to prevent any bullet from escaping. They have geometrically designed this so that no bullet will enter. The roof, you can see another good picture is another view of the side of the rubber berm. You can just see how at an angle the bullet has to travel a lot further through that rubber and is going to be trapped. This next slide shows actual pictures of the rubber berm. This is used in many gun ranges throughout the nation. Down the right-hand side, you'll see what we'll have is outside vendors coming in, mining the lead, is what it's called. They'll go in and vacuum out all the lead and leaving the rubber granules there. At the same time, they'll refill the pits if anything looks like it's getting thin as protection. We plan on mining it every 80 to 100,000 rounds. This is a typical what the manufacturer represents to us, and it depends on the size of the slugs. If a lot of 22s are shot, we don't need to mine it as well as they have a lot of 380s or 308s being shot. We'll have to mine it a little bit more often. This is just another picture downrange of what the baffling might look at downrange. The top picture here is the rear elevation view of our building. You'll see that the screen is basically enclosed around the air handlers. And this brings me to my second point as to why people will drive past other ranges to get to our range. We're going to be spending over $500,000 putting in an air conditioning, air ventilation system that's second to none in the entire state of Texas. Once this is constructed, this range will be the largest, cleanest range in the entire state of Texas. It basically will, as you can see on the diagram below, Cary Ventilation Company has designed the system that will heat, cool, and ventilate the air in the range, not just the showroom. There's no other commercial range in Texas that will have this system. This range is designed to recirculate the air in the range every 80 seconds, making this the cleanest indoor range in the entire state. As you can see from this, the equipment, this is just one of the 4 pieces of equipment. On the bottom right-hand side is what's called a diffuser. This is taking the air coming from the air handlers and spreading it out evenly so that it has a gentle 0.8 mile per hour breeze at the back of the shooters, starting about 15 feet behind, so that the shooters do not have any extensive wind going down their neck, and it's also going to be air conditioned and heating. As you can see the top right-hand picture, this is the breeze that's being created by this air handler that pulls all the pollutants and all the contaminants downrange. So our customers will be shooting in the safest, cleanest environment that there can possibly be. That, in a nutshell, is why people are going to be driving to Louisville. We hope to bring, like I said, 1,500 shooters a week into this area. I think it's going to help revitalize and continue the growth that's in Louisville. It will bring people from all over the state, but definitely all over North Texas to Louisville. I think it's my goal to be an economic benefit, an economic boom to Louisville. It's going to be a unique recreational facility, unlike any other. The hours of operations, Mr. Daniels, from Monday through, sorry it's taking so long to get there, the Monday through Friday, we're going to be open from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. Saturday, we're going to be open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sunday, we're opening from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., about 72 hours of operations. We are, I hope that answers the questions on the hours of operations.
The only other question I might have is, would you all have anticipated, I don't even know what to call it, a midnight madness, and it may not be the right thing for a shooting range, but any type of like late night events or anything like that that would ever be scheduled?
At this time, we're not anticipating it. We do have plans on having, since we have 2 separate 12-lane bays, we're not like other ranges that have to do everything at a late after hours, because we'll have one 12-lane bay that's designated for revenue generation. We'll have a separate bay that we can bring in parties and Mom's Day outs and madness shooting times, competition shooting. So qualifications from where we've definitely invited the Louisville Police Department and other area police departments to come and use our range to qualify in. So we'll be able to have those at hours that are reasonable for them as well, that they don't have to come in after hours. So during the weeknights, we're not anticipating being all 24 lanes are full. So we'll have 12 lanes designated for public. The other 12 lanes we hope to have for those special events. So I hope that answers your question. But we don't anticipate staying up there till all hours of the night. We're going to be working 72 hours to opening, so we feel pretty comfortable that we should handle all of our shooters during that time period.
Does Eagle Gun Range, Inc. own any of the other 8 ranges?
Chairman, no, we don't. But this is
This is
the
a
only
new
one
venture.
this is the only one I can handle right now. This is a big enough project for us.
And how many employees do you expect to
We
have?
expect 10 to 15 employees. We think probably 9 full-time, 6, 7 full-time, I mean part-time. It just depends on the. We hope we got 24 employees. We really expect a great turnout for this. As you can see from the audience behind us, we have a tremendous support from the community, and I appreciate y'all coming tonight. But we feel like we're going to have 1,500 shooters come every week, and our number of employees will grow, but we expect 15 employees to start with.
Okay. I see in some of the other gun shows recently, it was advertised coming soon to Louisville.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
That was not to be presumptuous. We were hopefully trying to drive off the competition, sir.
What is the average age range?
Well, the youngest shooter that we'll allow in the range is 8 years old. The oldest is, however, you can hold a weapon, so carefully hold a weapon. So we're hoping that.
Is there going to be is there a membership at this Eagle Gun Range? Do you have to have a membership or?
We're going to be open to the public, but we'll also have memberships available. This is a public range, a commercial public range. It's open to everyone. People that shoot a lot, it's basically a discount for multiple, people that like to come a lot. We have several members we've pre-sold, and there's several members in our audience right now. So,
Thank you very much.
And is it anticipated that the noise is contained within the building below the decibel levels that the city would require for a noise
absolutely.
ordinance?
Yes, you will be hearing a little sound outside the building, but it is well below. We don't anticipate it leaving the property level of the property to a nuisance level. We will comply with all city ordinances. I read them yesterday and the last few days. I don't see anything that applies specifically to an indoor gun range because it hasn't been zoned. So I anticipate you may do that. But I also, as an additional covenant to you, is that in our landlord's agreement, I have agreed that the sound of gunfire will not be heard inside the buildings next to us even. So it's even a more strict covenant than the city ordinance. So it's our goal to be good citizens and make certain that everybody is comfortable around our ranges, both ballistically and noise level.
Any other questions?
Yeah, how long is the lease on the facility?
We have a 10-year lease with two 10-year options. We anticipate being here for a long time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Prince.
I appreciate it, and I ask that y'all seriously consider approving this zoning request. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we will open up the public hearing. Anyone that wishes to step forward and speak on this subject, you do come up and sign in on the paper at the podium and state your name, and then give us your thoughts.
He'll hand it to you in just a second. Go ahead. You can talk.
Yeah.
My name's Kevin Latham. Been a resident of Louisville all my life. And I've met this gentleman at the gun show in Louisville. And I know for a fact that he is heartfelt about this. I even know the businesses that surround where he's planning on putting this in, and he's even gone as far as contacting those businesses and making sure they would not have a problem with this. I talked to one of them today. I just want to speak in favor of this. We have enough people in our country fighting to take our gun rights away. We don't need any more. This is a community that is hungry for this. I don't know if any of y'all ever go out, I don't mean to name a competitor, but if any of y'all ever go out to Quail Creek, there's always a waiting line out there. I mean, if you're going to go out there and shoot, you're going to be out there for hours. This community will keep this man in business. And the revenue that will come from this business to the community is going to be astronomical. I don't know that his building is going to be big enough, to be honest with you. But I want to speak in favor of this. This is something that this community needs. We need to protect our Second Amendment right. And this will do it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Latham. Appreciate your input. Anyone else wish to come forward?
Microphone's a little higher than I am. But, my name is David Hodgson. I represent a group called the Texas Training Crew. We specialize in law enforcement, firearms training, public firearms training. I came to know Mr. Prince a while back in discussion about this range. I support this range. Our group is about 20 members strong. We are all instructors, and we instruct throughout North Texas as well as down in San Antonio, and we do have some people in Houston. And we create range safety officers. We teach them to be the people on the line to make sure that the other shooters are safe and protected. In dealing with Mr. Prince, he has left no stone unturned. I'm not going to mention any names, but so many other ranges do not have the attention to detail that he has had thus far. And we are very excited to be in conversation with him and to support him. This is why we felt like we needed to come today. If you approve this, you will, bar none, have one of the leading firearms ranges in North Texas, and you will generate business. 2 ranges within inside of 20 miles from where we stand right now. On Saturday, they run 600 to 800 people through on Saturday, and on Sunday they run 600 to 800 people. That's, if you go on the low end, that's 1,200 people right there just Saturday and Sunday. And one of them is an outdoor range, one of them is an indoor range. And I will tell you that they did start out with small staffs, and now they have very large staffs to support the range and to make sure that everything is safe. I feel privileged to be able to work with Mr. Prince and his group. I hope this is approved, and I hope that we can promote the range here if y'all do approve it, because I think it will be something that people in North Texas will talk about, and that they will come here to utilize these facilities. Thank you for your time.
David, thank you for comments.
My name is Brenda Latham, 1553 Parkside Trail, Louisville resident my entire life. Louisville revitalization is so near and dear to me. I've seen it all. pavement ended at Main Street and Old Orchard when I was little. So we have seen a lot of changes, and we're at a point in our city's lifespan that we need to revitalize. And first-class revitalization, I'm all for. Thrift stores, not so much. But first class, I'm all for it. And this gun range is first class. The other gun ranges around here, the one that's indoor is small. And it's hard to get in, and you have to wait, and it is crowded, and it's noisy. And the air conditioning, I'm really excited about. The outdoor ranges, they're hot, they're cold, and you have to wait in line. This is going to be first class, and I am excited that Louisville finally has the opportunity to have something first class. So I wholeheartedly support this. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much.
I'm Steve Southwell. I'm also a Louisville resident. Just have to echo everything that's been said. Very impressed with these plans. This is a first-class facility. We need it. If you've been to any of the other ranges around here, they're hot, they're small, you stand in line. It's no fun. So please approve it. Thanks.
Mr. Southwell, thank you very much. Okay, anyone else?
I'm Jerry Nisbet. I lived here in Louisville for about 12 years. My home is about 200 yards south of this gun range, and I want to speak in favor of this gun range. We that enjoy shooting, and we need the gun range for practice, and one of the closest gun ranges to us has a 3 to 4 year wait for membership. And I hope that you approve this. I've already signed up and paid for as a founding member of this gun range, so I hope that I get to shoot.
You had your golden
thank you very
card
much.
already. Jerry, thank you very much. And being south of that, I know the prevailing winds in this area is from the south, so then if there were any noise, you wouldn't hear it anyway.
Except in the north.
Yeah.
Except in the winter.
Except in the winter. Okay, is there anyone else? If not, could I have a motion to close public hearing?
Make a motion to close public hearing.
Motion by Karen.
Second.
Seconded by Brent. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Commissioners, any discussion?
I have one. Mr. Prince, I have one question for you. It's really it's concerning me.
Yes.
The 8-year-olds, kids, 8-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too sold on an 8-year-old learning how to shoot a gun.
This will be with their parents' permission. I mean, they won't be just coming. Parents will bring them there, and they will be receiving proper instructions if the parent wants them. But they're not allowed to come in by themselves at all, and their parents are not going to drop them off. They'll only be there after the parents have signed the waivers and talked to the instructors, and it's for the convenience of the parent. I know when I was raising my children, I wanted a place to bring my boys to teach them how to safely handle a weapon. But, you know, it's 8 years old is what we have, the industry. We've talked to other ranges. We've talked to the NRA. They feel like 8-year-olds can handle it. But this is totally at the discretion of the parent. We will not be encouraging it one way or the other. It's just that we have set a minimum of 8. If the parents feel like the children are capable of it, as long as they're able to reach over the bench, that's high enough to reach safely over the bench, they'll be allowed, is what we have set up so far.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir. I myself am very excited about having additional employees in the city, and it sounds like it's been very well planned out. And I guess at this time, any more comments? If not, could I have a motion?
Make a motion to recommend approval.
Second.
Seconded by Alvin. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And this is great to see a lot of people come out. Okay, item 5, reports. It says after this meeting, we'll have a Brownsfield Advisory Committee meeting, and I think we'll take a 10-minute recess for that. Mary, were there any other, Pesha, were there any other reports or comments?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Okay, motion by Karen to adjourn, seconded by Jared. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.